Today we are with the culture observer Made Wijaya. Om Swastiastu.
Om Swastiastu.
Pak Made, why is Pura Batur so important for Balinese people?
It is the seat of the goddess of the lake, Dewi Danu. And Dewi Danu is one of the most ancient of Balinese gods. It's the second most important temple because it's also the seat of Batur Vishnu, who is the god of agriculture. So from 1,000 years ago, the agricultural community go to Pura Batur on the 10th full moon, which is the most important full moon in Bali. And they have between 3 and 10 day ceremony called Batur Turun Kabe, when all the gods come down, the ancient gods of Bali, the goddess of the lake, and also the more recent, more classic Hindu gods. And there's a giant ceremony involving people coming from all over Bali to pay homage, to give their offerings, to get the holy water. Even the Chinese community have a special shrine there. And also to see the wonderful Baris Gede, the great dance, which we will see in today's program.
Pak Made, about the architecture, why is the architectures of Pura Batur is quite different with the other temples in Bali?
Well, it's a Pura Agung. It's one of the 6 Pura Kayangan, the main temples of Bali, the most important, so it has to be big. It's got many, many courtyards. Originally, it was down on the crater lake, and then after the big volcanic explosion of 1906, it was shifted up to the crater rim, where it had sort of more space to spread out and a very dramatic view of the lake. They chose to build the temple out of a dark grey stone. Originally, it was all soapstone. It was all tuft, volcanic tuft, because the god Vishnu is black. Black is also Krishna. The kings also have black as their color. So the style of the temple is very grand, very royal, very high gates, very big pagodas, the Meru, enormous gedong for the god statues, the archer to be inside. And these are the statues you will see going in processions when they go from Alasti or they walk to the holy springs nearby. So there are many processions around, through the temple, many dance performances, many prayer sessions going on over the 5 to 10 days of the ceremony. And it needs a big stage, a big gong, the gong Gede, a big dance, the Baris Gede. Gede means big. But this is a Karya Gede, in a Pura Agung, which means Gede, it's big.
Why is there such kind of Buddhist temple inside of Pura Batur itself?
Well, as we know that the Balinese religion is Hindu, and it's Shivaite Hindu, but from Majapahit times, Bali has been imbued with a sort of Shiva Buddha, which is called Hindu Dharma. And also from ancient times, in the mountain villages, you have had the Chinese communities. In fact, the ancient Chinese tribes who first populated Indonesia, driving the ancient Indonesians east to Timor, Flores, the ancient Chinese tribes have lived in the mountains. So you see the features of the mountain people and their architecture to be something quite ancient, quite different. So there's still a big Kintamani, where the temple is, still has a big Chinese community. And they have their own shrine, which is a red shrine. It has Chinese warrior gods. It has a special Buddhist Chinese way of praying. So they're part of the whole Buddha Shiva community of Bali and of Pura Batur.
Pak Made, would you like to tell us about the functions of those animals which are used in that ceremony?
For the big Karya Agung, the big ceremonies at the major temples of Bali, there is a ceremony called Mepapadan, from ped, from walking, pediatrician, which is a long procession of all the different animals who will be sacrificed. And according to the Hindu Balinese, their souls will be reborn as humans, for what that's worth. There's most famously, the cows are sacrificed into the Gaturan Pakalam, into the lake of Batur. But this temple is called the Ulun Danu, the head of the lake, because it used to be down there at the head of the lake. It's now up on the caldera. And there's chickens and there's pigs and there's all these different little ceremonies involved in with these animals. It's representing all of the makhluk hidup, all of the living things of the Hindu universe. So that's an essential ceremony when you're having a big karya agung, which is what we saw in the presentation.
Pamadi, what about the women's dance in that presentation?
The Rajang Dewa dance, which you saw, is a welcome dance for the gods when they arrive at the temple. Quite often, like at Pura Uluwatu, you will have a Rajang of the young virgins of the village doing a beautiful sort of Javanese welcome dance, which is like a welcoming mat for the gods as they arrive. It can also happen when the gods are seated in the temple, that a male or a female mass dance will happen. These wali dances are unique to the temples of Bali. They're not danced outside the temple. So it's the shadow puppet play, the wayang wong, the mass dances, and the male warrior dance and the Rajang Dewa. It's a sacred dance, and you really only see it danced like that at the major temples. Pasaki, Batur, sometimes at very big Brahmin ceremonies.
Pamadi, would you like to tell us about the background of Tari Baris Gede in Danu Batur temple ceremony?
Well, in Bali you have these different sacred dances called wali, the word Bali coming from wali, the Sanskrit word for ceremonies. Now, wali as a word, as a concept, survives in Bali with the different dances you can have inside a temple or inside a holy enclosure at times of cremations, which often includes a Baris dance. There's the shadow puppet, there are sacred Rajang Dewa. You'll see that also in today's program, danced by the ladies. Now, the Baris Gede, which is a regimental warrior dance, is one of those walis only performed inside the temple. The 10th full moon is the holiest full moon in the Balinese calendar, and here we are at Pura Batur, which is the temple of Vishnu, the god Vishnu. It's the second most important temple in Bali. It's the mother temple for all of the agricultural community. And Pura Batur here is famous for its festival Baris Gede. Baris Gede is a sort of regimental warrior dance, probably descended from Bhutan or North India, where it exists in the courts. And the Baris is also found at other ceremonies, danced for purification rites, for cremations, etc. But the regimental Baris dance, the Baris Gede, is particular to these mountain temples. I sailed to Bali from Western Australia in 1973, and we didn't have a dinghy or a spare sail or a radio. I'd never sailed before. It's quite an ocean passage across the Indian Ocean. And we arrived in the harbour of Benua, and the first thing we saw crossing our bow was a sampan of a laundryman, and on the prow was a very lithe young teenage man dancing the Baris in a very wiry and snaky way, which was just completely mind-blowing.
Viewers, there was an interview with the culture observer WIJAYA. Hopefully it can enrich your knowledge about the Balinese cultures. Okay, sir, thank you. Om Santi 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 Om.
Baris.